How can you upgrade your self-talk, what you say to yourself in your head? We've all got voices up there. How do you upgrade it so that it actually works? That's what we're going to share with you today. I think probably as coaches and parents, as leaders, we need to have self-talk equally as much as our athletes, because we get frustrated, we get worked up, we lose confidence sometimes as coaches, as parents. Is what we're doing working? Are we really qualified? We talk to ourselves in negative ways all the time, and what I found is that if you don't choose your self-talk, it will choose you. We have a bad propensity to talk to ourselves and say things to ourselves that we would never say to another human being. Like, I say things to myself sometimes, if I'm not careful, if I don't do these 3 things, that I would never say to Travis. No, I'm just kidding. I would never say them to Travis. And so what we want to share with you are these 3 ways that you can upgrade your self-talk. Whether you're a coach, you're a parent, you're an athlete, lucky for you, this applies to everybody today. Self-talk is important for all of us. It's changed my life, my confidence, my results. But we're going to share with you these 3 things here in a minute.
Yeah, at the end of the day, your thoughts become your actions, so we really got to make sure that we're having the right self-talk up there, because if not, it's going to be exemplified by how we act, how we play, how we perform, whether it's sports, school, work, life, whatever it might be.
Yep, and we were talking about, this is our final week on the 4 pillars of how to get out of your head and into the zone so you can experience more flow and success and momentum in your life, in your sports. So the first thing that you, your athlete, that I need to do if we want to have better self-talk is obvious. We must pre-plan it. We can't be reactive, because once we make the bad play in the game, once coach pulls us out of the game, it's too late at that point. Because we might try to fake ourselves out and be like, oh, come on, like I've got this, or like I'm good. But at the end of the day, when you pre-plan it, some people pre-plan it all the time, they don't even realize it. You might be a kind of person that has motivational quotes written all over your walls, or you have a journal of motivational quotes. That is actually pre-planned self-talk. You just need to attach it to situations in life. Because it's one thing to have all the motivational quotes written down, but do you know when you're going to pull those things out of your toolbox so you can keep this right, so that, as Travis said, your thoughts become your actions become your results. It all starts with those thoughts, though.
Yeah, and I like this procedural approach. Drew Brees actually takes it when he goes to the line of scrimmage. He has a pilot checklist that he goes through, and this self-talk could be one of yours if you're an athlete, like, right? If you're headed on the field and you normally have that negative self-talk, well, that just has to go into your routine, that you start implementing it so it begins to become more habitual, more of a procedural approach to getting ready for that game.
So just like you, I'm a leader. But at the beginning of every one of my days, I stole this from a mentor of mine. At the beginning of my days, I look at my list of things for that day. And anything that has to do with people or my performance, I think through, okay, if this situation goes bad, if this conversation doesn't go as well as I planned, what will I say to myself to keep myself from blowing up, getting frustrated, getting angry? I'm not perfect with this, but I'm trying to practice it, because I know that if I pre-plan my self-talk, what goes on up here, what I say to myself, what comes out of my mouth or what comes out through my actions is going to be better. It's going to be a better result. So pre-plan your self-talk as an athlete could mean, well, you know what, let's go into number 2, because number 2 really ties in with number 1. If you want to have self-talk that actually works, you have to make it specific. You know what I mean? Like I ask the athletes all the time, hey, what are you going to say to yourself, if you get pulled out of the game? I can do it. Or, I'm good. Like, it's just generic stuff that we typically don't pre-plan it, we just react. And it's just generic self-talk things that sound nice, that are like the very like Pollyanna, make everybody feel good, but they're not specific to our situation. So as an athlete on the field, if you know it's possible that you might get pulled out of a game because you weren't performing well, what are you going to say to yourself in the moment when you get pulled out? An example might be, I've trained, I'm capable, I'm able. I'm worthy, what coach pulling me out doesn't change that. Real quick things that you can say to yourself. Travis might have another example, but that's really, really important that we have specific self-talk.
Yeah, and for me, the foundation always goes back to the physical preparation. So when I was playing rugby at the Mount, my big one is I've worked for this, right? I've outworked this, my opposite. For me, I was really competitive, So I always went back to the roots of physical preparation, and mine was, I've worked too hard for this. Next play, right? My rugby coach had a saying, the next 10 seconds after a mistake dictates the course of the rest of the game. And that one was for me. That's how I really checked myself with what I was saying after I made mistakes. And mine always went back to the work that I put in that off season, the summer leading up to it, the week leading up to it, all that type of things.
When do you need self-talk? It's typically during a struggle, right? A struggle. We need self-talk when a struggle happens. One of the things that my mentor taught me was HTS. You can use it and steal it because I use it and I stole it. Honor the struggle, Andrew. Honor the struggle. Honor it. And when you say the word honor in your head, self-talk, it means to appreciate the struggle, to love it, to know that it's going to lead to something great. So this could be this might be all you need as an athlete after listening to this. You might just need to start saying to yourself, when things go south, honor the struggle, honor the struggle. That might be your specific self-talk for struggle type situations.
Yeah, I also like honor the hustle. I like the alliteration of the H's, honor the hustle. But the big thing, again, it goes back to the work you put in, right? And sometimes the work you got to put in is uncomfortable. It's a struggle. It's a hustle. And it means having the uncomfortable conversations with yourself, making it direct. So I'm a huge fan of that one.
Yep. So 2 steps if you want to make your self-talk a little bit better. And if you're somebody who has never thought of this before, if you don't even have your own self-talk, step 1 is just to start paying attention to how you talk to yourself. Because you definitely talk to yourself in some way. This is just like being intentional. It's like, let's plan it out before we go and say some nasty stuff to ourselves.
That's stinking thinking.
Yeah, I still don't know why we do that. All right, step 3. Say it with honor the struggle. That's going to work. That's not going to work. Say it with affect. A-F-F-E-C-T, which also means emotion. Say it with emotion. And of course, you're saying it in your head, but you can say things in your head with emotion. Like, I can say honor the struggle in my head right now, or I can say honor the struggle, Andrew, and you see it by my face. Like, this is me saying it without affect. I just said it in my head. And this is me saying it with affect. Got this.
Yeah,
right?
Building yourself up.
You got to say it with affect in your head, otherwise it's meaningless and you actually don't feel it. If you feel something, it's going to come out in your emotions and your energy. So say it with affect and action. You want to explain this one? Because this is why the mistake ritual works so well.
Yeah, the big thing is you're going to link that brain, that action, that affect you just said in your head, and you're going to link an action to it. A lot of times we tell our athletes, I gave mine away to an athlete last night, but snap your band, right? And all that does is it provides that action that's going to snap into the brain, and it's going to start getting your mind right, essentially. But it's just linking that action to the word that you put into your brain, and it's going to combine holistically to reset the brain if it's a mistake or whatever it might be.
So like for Travis, he used the phrase next play, move on. Maybe it's a thumbs up by your side as you're doing that.
And I'll do a double leg pat, because when I played rugby, you couldn't wear the band, so I'd pat my leg.
Right? Some people, like Tim Tebow, I love Tim Tebow, and I love all the athletes that they point up, right? But they're not just pointing up to God, they're actually saying something in their head, you just don't see it. See, oftentimes the difference between a good player and a great player, a good dad and a great dad, a good spouse and a great spouse, it's what's going on up here that results in the next action. Travis said it, your thoughts become your actions eventually. So what are you saying up here that is going to lead to that? You know, when they point up, they're saying something along the lines of, glory to God, I'm playing for you, you're number one, this is who I'm doing it for. But they don't say it out loud. A lot of the time, self-talk is the differentiator between good and great. So whatever one you guys need to take action on today, again, as a leader, I know that I must do this myself before I ask my athletes, before I ask my players to do these things. And we just have seen it work so many times. Like, self-talk works if you work through these steps.
Yep. And think about this. Constantly, if people are saying negative things to you, you're eventually going to have a negative outlook, right? So if you're constantly having a negative dialogue in your head, that stinking thinking, putting yourself down, eventually it's going to trickle out into your actions. So the big thing, the first step you got to do is you got to start putting in more of a positive input for yourself. And you're going to start taking more positive action. This could be a game changer if you, one, become cognizant of what's your dialogue like now, but two, take action on at least one of these things.
Yep, and then go share it with somebody. That's probably the fourth step. If there was a bonus step, it would be go tell somebody about the negative talk you've been having, the negative patterns that have been going on in your head, and tell them what you learned. You're going to start applying something different, and share with them what your new self-talk's going to be. That's how you'll take it to another level. Talk about great. The great people will go and teach this to somebody, so it doesn't just benefit them and stop with them, but it continues on to impact other people.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a team full of leaders, your team's going to elevate higher, right? And leader is not just the seat in your chest. The leader is how you handle yourself, how you talk to yourself. Leader of one can lead many, right? If you can't lead none, you can't lead any. So the big thing is apply this and watch the breakthroughs you're going to have.
Nice. So guys, that wraps up our month talking about the 4 pillars of how to get out of your head and into the zone. You can go to our YouTube page to watch all the other ones. Compliments of Brian. Be Monday back there. Brian, do you want to step in here real quick and just show your face so that people can appreciate the man behind the camera?
Oh, man. Hey.
Happy Halloween, guys. So you can go to our YouTube page, watch the videos. A lot of them got a lot of good feedback if you want to get out of your head, if you're someone that's in your head a lot. And then next month, we're going to be talking about how to survive and thrive in the storms of life, and how to build unshakable confidence and maturity, whether you're 12 or 30, so that other people and outside circumstances do not penetrate your heart, but it stops up here and then you get over it, right? That's one of our biggest downfalls as people, is we let things shake us that really shouldn't shake us, but we allow them to. So that's going to be next month, guys. Thanks again for watching. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.